The emperor bestowed 3 bunches of lychees upon the crown prince's residence. When the servants asked how they should be distributed, Xiao Ming'an did not even lift his head and ordered, "I'll keep 1 bunch, send the remaining 2 bunches to consort Jiang." The servant cautiously reminded him. Only then did he remember that I was his lawfully wedded crown princess. "Then send some to the crown princess as well." 3 pieces, he had shared them with me from his own portion. Later, I became empress. And then Empress Dowager. Before dying, Xiao Ming'an held my hand. He asked me if I had any last words. Not far away, the newly offered lychees were bright and succulent. It was still 1 box for Xiao Ming'an and 2 boxes for consort Jiang. What the maid was carrying was a plate Xiao Ming'an had set aside for me. I drew my last breath and, from beginning to end, gave no answer. When I opened my eyes again, I was at the consort selection banquet. The empress clapped her hands and laughed. "For this banquet, let the first place winner be chosen as the crown princess." Before me was the Guqin that had won me first place in my previous life. I lowered my eyes, my expression unchanged, but she quietly played 1 note wrong. After I had finished my bowing, the frozen atmosphere slowly began to flow again. The empress's expression was not very pleasant. She took a sip of tea before speaking. "The daughter of the prime minister's family is indeed gifted in both beauty and talent. Not only is she gentle and virtuous, her zither music is also like heavenly music. It has been a long time since I last heard the music of my hometown. This Zhonghua Liuban truly speaks to my heart." The empress was born into a prominent family in Jiangnan and grew up in Taizang, the birthplace of silk and bamboo music. Zhonghua Liuban is one of the 8 famous pieces of Jiangnan Siju. Gentle and far-reaching. In my previous life, I won first place at this banquet by catering to their tastes in just this way. But in fact, I didn't need to resort to such clever tricks. Talent and beauty, a voice like heavenly music. The empress's 8 words settled the matter with finality. It was as if she hadn't noticed the slight mistake in my performance just now among the audience. Those well-versed in music naturally detected it, but since the empress had already spoken, no one dared to step forward and point it out, so a group of people smiled and congratulated me. "I've long heard that Miss Lin is exceptionally talented." At the palace banquet 2 years ago, a single poem on autumn appreciation stunned everyone present. I never expected her zither skills to be this superb as well. Listening to you, I was utterly entranced. Exactly. Miss Lin has outstanding family background and looks in every way truly the model among the noble ladies of our capital. The same scene as in my previous life, only this time, I had indeed performed at my best level. A single exquisite piece of zither music left everyone speechless, and in this life I looked at the jade bangle symbolizing the crown princess and did not take it. Instead, she lowered her brows and curtsied to beg forgiveness. "This humble daughter is unworthy. I struck the wrong string midway through the performance. I am truly unworthy to accept this jade bracelet." Since no one spoke up, then I'll say it myself too. As soon as these words were spoken, the lively atmosphere instantly froze. I continued, "Any mistake in the performance means it cannot be considered perfect. This humble servant is not skilled in the zither, and I beg your majesty the empress to forgive my fault." In full view of everyone, the smile on the empress's face even turned somewhat strained. Nearly failing to hold, the eunuch who had brought over the jade bracelet was also at a loss. Standing awkwardly in place, it was still the clever old nursemaid by the side. She had served the empress since childhood and knew the empress's thoughts better than anyone. At this moment, she quickly stepped forward to diffuse the situation. "Miss Lin, there's no need to be modest, just 1 syllable. A minor flaw doesn't overshadow the beauty of the whole. Among all the noble ladies playing, you still play the best, Miss Lin." The empress's expression gradually returned to normal with an opening now. She continued smoothly, "Indeed, flaws do not overshadow merits. This bracelet of the crown princess shall be granted to you." Before she could finish, a delicate, slightly breathless, feminine voice rang out, "Your Majesty, please pardon me. I am late." It was Jiang Yulan, the imperial consort Jiang who had fought with me for half a lifetime in my previous life. She curtsied to the empress and lifted her head, revealing a stunningly beautiful and coquettish face, her voice soft and melodious. "I have not yet played. Please grace us with your appreciation of the music, Your Majesty." The queen was interrupted and naturally displeased, her tone indifferent. "The selection of consorts has already concluded. Since you have arrived late, there is no need for you to play." Everyone could see the queen's dislike for Jiang Yulan naturally. No one would step forward to plead for leniency at this moment, lest they invite misfortune. The palace maid was about to lead Jiang Yulan to her seat. Just when everyone thought the matter had been settled, the crown prince, who had remained silent all this time, suddenly spoke. "The banquet is not over yet, so it doesn't count as being late." Amid my indifferent expression and Jiang Yulan's suddenly delighted gaze, he set down the cup and said in a flat tone, "Mother, why be so harsh? Give her a chance to play." 3. It's always like this. Xiao Ming'an had already been lenient toward Jiang Yulan when he was still crown prince. By the time he became emperor, it was even unclear how many times he had stood up for her. In the third year of the Qiyuan era, envoys from a neighboring country came to offer counsel relying on their nation's strength. They were subtly barbed and, in public, directly made things difficult for me. The empress, he posed an extremely tricky problem, waiting to see me fail to answer and lose all face. I instinctively looked toward Xiao Ming'an. He smiled at me and said gently, "Just answer it. If you can't, then as you have long lived in the deep palace, I won't blame you." With a single sentence, he deftly shifted the premise. If I couldn't answer, it would not be as empress that I would lose the nation's face but only represent me, a woman who has long lived in the deep palace, knowing only how to serve her husband and raise children, thus having a narrow perspective. Only I was the one who lost face. Fortunately, I managed to answer in the end that time. Xiao Ming'an rewarded me with many pieces of jewelry and fine silks as we were entwined. He breathed softly into my ear, praising my intelligence, saying I truly deserved to be empress, a model for all under heaven. I had always secretly rejoiced at his admiration back then. Until the envoy came for the second time, having been rebuffed by me. He then turned his attention toward consort Jiang. Jiang Yulan had always been poor in poetry and books, unable to read a single character. Sure enough, her pretty face turned as white as a sheet, and she subconsciously looked toward Xiao Ming'an. Even though there had been some friction between us on ordinary days, in a situation like this, if she were to be embarrassed and humiliated, as a woman who had also been mistreated, I could not bear it. I slightly furrowed my brow, about to take over the conversation and help her out of the awkward situation. Then I heard Xiao Ming'an's casual laughter. "Merely engaging in literary pursuits is rather dull. Why not accompany me to the riding grounds for a competition? Let me witness the horsemanship of your grasslands." I saw Jiang Yulan's cheeks gradually flush with color and the comforting, affectionate look that Xiao Ming'an cast her way. That time, I finally understood. Xiao Ming'an didn't believe in me or admire me. He simply didn't care whether I would be embarrassed or not. When it was Jiang Yulan's turn to be humiliated, he couldn't bear it and immediately stepped in to defend her. I am well-read, intelligent, and exceptionally talented, so Xiao Ming'an admires me, and Jiang Yulan, foolish, spoiled, and shallow. Everyone says that I have good character and excel in every way compared to that empty-headed beauty, Jiang Yulan, yet Xiao Ming'an has never stood up for me, not even once, for the crown prince had spoken, and the empress could not disregard his dignity. Jiang Yulan was given the opportunity to perform. The empress covered her face with her hand, coughed lightly, and glanced at the matron beside her. The matron understood immediately and ordered the eunuch to fetch the zither to ensure fairness. All noble ladies participating in this selection would use instruments provided uniformly by the palace. In my previous life, I was unaware that Jiang Yulan's zither had been tampered with. Midway through her performance, the strings suddenly snapped. Such a major mistake naturally resulted in her being ranked the lowest among the noble ladies. But so what? Even though she ranked last, Xiao Ming'an still defied public opinion and took her as his concubine. And now, I glanced at the empress's subtle glance toward the nurse. Stepping forward, I spoke slowly toward Jiang Yulan. "There's no need to send someone to fetch another zither. If Sister Jiang doesn't mind, please use mine." Jiang Yulan's mother was a Hu woman. She entered the Jiang family as a servant girl, and was later taken in by Jiang Yuelan's father as a concubine. The empress looked down on Jiang Yuelan as a filthy half-breed if she became empress. The child she gave birth to would have foreign blood if she were made crown prince. The royal bloodline would no longer be pure and would be criticized by others, so even though the crown prince pleaded repeatedly, she could at most tolerate Jiang Yuelan becoming a concubine, but she didn't know in the previous life, even though Jiang Yuelan only became a noble consort, the child she gave birth to had deep-set eyebrows and green eyes. Xiao Ming'an made me the empress and my son the crown prince, but in the end, it was Jiang Yuelan's son who inherited the throne. So what if he has mixed Hu blood? So what if he is merely the son of a noble consort? Xiao Ming'an treasured the two of them as if they were priceless gems. He praised that child's blue eyes for being as dazzling and radiant as emeralds, but toward my son, he was cold and distant, harsh to the extreme. My son thought that his father, the emperor, often scolded him harshly because he was the crown prince and thus held high expectations for him. It wasn't until he was deposed from the position of crown prince that he suddenly realized Xiao Ming'an was strict with him not because he had high hopes for him, but because of me. The emperor did not love the empress, so naturally, he would not love him either. 5. Because the zither was changed, Jiang Yuelan naturally played smoothly. She had been taught by a master found by the crown prince and had practiced diligently for a long time. Naturally, I outshone everyone, even if the empress intended to favor me. Faced with this obvious display of musical talent, she seemed powerless. Jiang Yuelan walked up to me, covering her lips with a light smile. Sister, it's been so long since we last met, yet your skill at the qin has become so rusty. Such a huge mistake, you probably can't even compare to the singing girls in the palace. Such a shallow, provocative remark. In the cautiously worded palace, it was practically as if the words idiot were boldly written across her forehead. The noble ladies around them all cast looks of disdain, but Jiang Yuelan remained utterly oblivious. Perhaps she knew, but simply didn't care. With such an ostentatious and foolish nature, she managed to survive in the ruthless harem, where people are devoured without a trace, and even rose all the way to the rank of noble consort. It was only because Xiao Ming'an liked her and protected her. He would protect her when she did nothing wrong, and even more so when she made mistakes. His favoritism was known throughout the entire palace. I looked at her calmly. Naturally, I am not as skilled as my sister in playing the qin. After walking a few steps, I could still hear Jiang Yuelan's coquettish whining not far away. Brother Crown Prince, don't you think I played better? Even if Lin Qingyun hadn't made a mistake, my performance would still have sounded better than hers, right? My steps involuntarily slowed down. Dazed, I suddenly remembered my past life. The one thing I was most proud of was my skill in playing the qin. Xiao Ming'an, whenever troubled by state affairs, would always come to my palace to listen to me play a calming melody. He loved these hands of mine even more than I did, always unable to put them down. As he kissed them over and over, my empress, there is none under heaven who can compare to you. Leaves drifted down, and in the rustling sound, the wind of this lifetime blew in. Xiao Ming'an's voice was cool and clear. Alan, yours sounds better. Lin Qingyun is naturally not as good as you, not as good in every way. 6. Entering the palace again was 3 days later. Jiang Yuelan secured first place among the noble ladies with her mastery of the zither, but this was not the outcome the empress wanted, so she found an excuse to postpone the matter of naming the crown princess. Inside the hall, incense curled in wisps as the empress's sharp gaze swept over me from head to toe. After a long while, the empress's tone remained flat. You have always been steady, and you once lived in Taizang, Jiangnan for quite some time. That QV is also your specialty. Why did you make a mistake that day? She had begun to suspect me. My expression did not change as I lowered myself and bowed. Please forgive me, Your Majesty. That day, with so many people present and both Your Majesty and the Crown Prince watching, I was truly overwhelmed and did not make the mistake intentionally. Overwhelmed? Are you afraid of me? The Empress's gaze fell on Xiao Ming'an, who stood nearby in a black robe and jade crown. Or are you afraid of the Crown Prince? The question was tricky, and no matter how I answered, it would be inappropriate. Fortunately, the Empress didn't really intend to embarrass me. She rested her head on her hand, closing her eyes. Alright, I'm tired. Let the crown prince take you for a walk in the garden. Since you're anxious, a few more conversations will help you become more familiar. The position of crown prince's consort must be held by a noble lady of distinguished lineage and exceptional virtue and talent. The empress still hasn't given up on making me the crown prince's consort in my past life. I won the position as crown prince's consort by excelling in music, which was only natural several times. I caught Jiang Yulan sobbing pitifully in Xiao Mingen's arms. It's all my fault for being so stupid. If I had come in first place, I could have married you properly and openly. Whenever she cried like that, Xiao Mingen would feel especially sorry for her. An endless stream of rare treasures was sent to her residence as if they were free. Later on, Xiao Mingen would stare at me and occasionally blurt out a sentence. Actually, back then, I didn't think you played that well. I looked at him in surprise, as if realizing what he had said. He smiled and said softly, "What I mean is, not as well as you play now. It's like telling the truth and then casually patching it up." So, the empress is now hinting even if Xiao Ruolan takes first place, the position of crown princess will still be mine. I thought Xiao Mingen, having achieved his wish, would immediately stand up to refute it just like before, seeking justice for Jiang Yulan, but I heard his answer, "Whatever mother says." I suddenly looked up. Only then did I realize that Xiao Mingen was staring intently at me, his eyes dark and deep. I didn't know how long I had been watching. It was spring, and the flowers in the imperial garden were in full bloom. A gentle breeze passed by, bringing with it a few crisp bird calls, yet the spot where I and Xiao Mingen stood felt unusually still. "I can manage with the palace maid accompanying me. I won't trouble your highness the crown prince." I felt embarrassed and spoke up on my own. Xiao Mingen remained expressionless, lost in thought. He didn't respond, so I took it as consent and was about to leave with the palace maid to another place. I heard a cold voice, "I can make you the crown princess." Xiao Mingen walked up to me, bent down, and leaned close to my ear. "However, you must go beg Mother Empress for an imperial decree allowing a land to bear children." In his previous life, Xiao Mingen defied all opposition and insisted on taking Jiang Yulan as his concubine. The empress was furious, and after a stalemate, she finally relented. He could take her, but she must not bear children. The crown prince's favored consort could be of Hu descent, but his descendants could not be Hu. Later, when the empress passed away and Xiao Mingen ascended the throne, Jiang Yulan was promoted to noble consort and finally gave birth to a son. In this life, Xiao Mingen stared directly at me. He was certain I would agree to this condition, using the position of crown prince's consort to secure an early childbirth for Jiang Yulan. I could actually understand him. After all, the earlier one gives birth to a child, the greater the advantage for future succession. When I was still at the prince's mansion, I gave birth to my eldest son, who was raised from an early age as the heir. By the time Jiang Yulan gave birth, her child was already 7 years younger than my eldest son. When my child turned 20, Jiang Yulan's child was only 13. The various noble families and high-ranking court officials had long since taken sides. There were few remaining forces left to recruit for Jiang Yulan and her son. Xiao Mingen looked at me for a long time without saying anything, seemingly realizing his tone had been too cold. In the imperial garden, the flowers were in full bloom, and I stood by the side. Her slender figure and clear, cool eyes stood out even more. He looked at me, for some reason appearing slightly dazed. "Yuna," but at that moment, I was recalling memories from my past life, and his voice was too soft. If I had been able to hear him, I would surely have been greatly surprised. This was the intimate name that Xiao Mingen would only call me in the heat of passion between the bedchambers in my past life. The matron came walking over from a distance, interrupting my train of thought. "Miss Lin, Her Majesty the Empress asks that you come over. She has a few more words she wishes to say to you." I came to my senses and nodded, looking up. For some reason, Xiao Mingen stared at my eyes and brows, slightly dazed. "Your Highness the Crown Prince." "I'll go ahead then." I paused for a moment and said softly, "Don't worry, everything will go as you wish." What he wanted to give Jiang Yulan, status, affection, indulgence, would all come to pass as he wished. 8. When he saw the Empress again, he came right to the point. "How did your talk with Mingen go?" The nursemaid chimed in from the side. You were having a very engaging conversation. When I went to look for you, I saw His Highness the Crown Prince speaking with Miss Lin. The look in his eyes was as tender as water. I have never seen His Highness the Crown Prince look at anyone like that before. As tender as water. I thought I must have misheard. How could Xiao Ming'an look at me that way? I'm afraid this maid is just saying nice things to curry favor and get a reward from the Empress. Sure enough, the Empress's brows and eyes relaxed, and she teased with a smile, "You said you were scared, and yet, after just a little conversation, you've already grown close. As for feelings, they're always built up over time." The jade bracelet from the Imperial Consort selection banquet appeared before her once again. The Empress picked it up, just about to put it on me. I suddenly stepped back and knelt on the ground. I truly do not deserve to accept this jade bracelet. I pressed my lips together and said slowly, "I already have someone I like. The Crown Prince is exceptional among men. And the position of Crown Princess is lofty and esteemed. This humble woman does not dare to harbor such fantasies. Please, Your Majesty the Empress, seek someone else." 9. The hall fell into a deep silence. The Empress's tone revealed no hint of either joy or anger. "Oh, you already have someone you like? Then let me hear it. Who has won your favor that even the position of Crown Princess is no longer worth considering?" I pressed my palm tightly and answered, "It is the fourth prince, Xiao Yuanju." Watching the Empress's tightly furrowed brows slowly relax, I knew I had bet right. The current Empress has two sons. The eldest son, Xiao Ming'an, was appointed as the Crown Prince at birth and has been groomed as the heir to the throne. The second son, Xiao Yuanju, also known as the fourth prince, has a cold and aloof temperament, dislikes meeting people, and rarely appears in public. "How did you come to know Yuanju and develop feelings for him?" My tone was calm. When this subject was 6 years old, my father was appointed to serve in Jiangnan, and I lived there with him for several years. It was then, when the fourth prince returned to his maternal grandfather's home to recuperate, that we met. All of this was told to me by Xiao Yuanju in my previous life. By then, I had already become empress. During the autumn hunt, a fierce lion suddenly sprang up. Jiang Yulan and I were seated on either side of Xiao Ming'an when the fierce lion charged to the center of the banquet. Xiao Ming'an instinctively stood up and rushed toward the west side. That was the direction where Jiang Yulan was sitting. The emperor was on the west side, so the guards naturally rushed over there as well. The fierce lion was highly intelligent. Seeing that the west side was crowded with people, it changed direction and charged at me. At that moment, a bloody, scorching stench rushed straight into my face, and I truly thought I was going to die. It was Xiao Yuanju who saved me. As the price, his shoulder was slashed open by the furious lion, leaving a severe wound. A few days later, after Xiao Ming'an coaxed the overly frightened Jiang Yulan to sleep, he finally remembered me and asked, "How is the empress? Is she injured again?" After getting the answer that I wasn't hurt, he lowered his head again to soothe the other person. He showed not the slightest intention of coming to see me, but fortunately, he didn't come, because at that moment I was carrying the ginseng soup I had simmered to go see Xiao Yuanju. I was both grateful and puzzled by his rescue. It was around that time that Xiao Yuanju told me about those past events. The man's brows and eyes were sharp and cold, but when he looked at me, they softened a little. I was at my grandfather's house back then, bored out of my mind, so I sneaked out to have some fun, only to get caught by a kidnapper and nearly sold. It was your shout that drew my guards over and saved me from disaster. Later, I often ran out to play with you. You couldn't remember my name at the time and always called me Xiao Mizhou. A year later, you suddenly left, and I never got the chance to tell you who I was. Only then did it dawn on me. Back then, there really was a boy named Xiao Mizhou who got along very well with me before I left. I actually wanted to tell him, but I had a fever, and I was in a daze for days. By the time I came to my senses, I was already back in the capital. In my previous life, Xiao Yuanju was granted Jiangnan as his fief and lived out his life as a carefree prince. It was said that he had a hidden illness and never married in his entire life. Having lived this life over again, I no longer wanted to fight with anyone, nor did I want to be trapped within the petty confines of the harem. With the life-saving kindness from my childhood, plus the support of the Prime Minister's residence behind me. Marrying Xiao Yuanju and living freely and at ease in Jiangnan was the best choice. Even if we remained courteous to each other, we could still live out our lives smoothly and peacefully. Your Majesty, since ancient times, disputes over the throne have turned brothers into bitter enemies. Although the Crown Prince and the Fourth Prince are now as affectionate as brothers, there is no guarantee they will remain so after he ascends the throne. If I can marry the Fourth Prince, then in consideration of my family's century-old legacy and my father's disciples and students spread throughout the realm, the Crown Prince will have to take his reputation into account and will surely ensure the Fourth Prince's peace and safety for the rest of his life. The Empress was silent for a long time, then said, "Allow this old dowager a little more time to think it over." Looking at the Empress's expression, I was already almost certain. The Crown Prince and the Fourth Prince were both her children, even though she had poured more love and expectations into the Crown Prince, who was the heir apparent. The Fourth Prince was still a child she cherished when she was there. She could keep him safe, but if she were no longer around, then he would need to find a way out for the Fourth Prince to survive. 10 Sure enough, on the third day after returning to the residence, I received an imperial decree from the palace, and the Empress ordered that I be made the Fourth Prince's consort. The matron who had come to announce the decree looked at me with great surprise. When there were fewer people around, she quietly told me, Her Majesty the Empress went to ask the Fourth Prince and said she wanted to arrange a marriage for him. At first, the Fourth Prince refused. It had always been like that before too. Whenever marriage was mentioned, the Fourth Prince would become unhappy, his expression so cold it could freeze people to death. But later, when Her Majesty mentioned your name, Miss, for some reason the Fourth Prince froze for a moment, then immediately agreed. The old maid was the Empress's bridal attendant and had watched the Fourth Prince grow up. She said with a cheerful smile, "Miss, don't listen to the rumors outside. The Fourth Highness is a wonderful person. People say he is cold, gloomy, and moody, but in fact, His Highness is kind and broad-minded. It's rare to hear of servants in his residence being beaten or punished. Miss is gentle, virtuous, and well-bred. After marrying into the prince's manor in the future, she will surely have a fine match." After the madam left, a letter was delivered from the Crown Prince's residence. I opened it. It was written in Xiao Mingan's handwriting. "After you enter the residence, you must treat Alan well. If you are narrow-minded and cannot tolerate others, then even Mother Empress will not be able to protect you." My eyes widened slightly, and it took me quite a while to react. The Empress's edict was delivered to the Lin residence. Xiao Mingan therefore assumed that the edict was to make me the Crown Princess. After all, the Empress had brought it up many times, but he did not know that the Empress had already changed her mind. "I'm going to marry the Fourth Prince, not him. He's always been so domineering, favoring Jiang Yulan and threatening me with his words. That was true in my past life, and it's true in this one too." 11 As soon as the imperial edict was issued, the Lin residents began making hurried preparations. My elders prepared a dowry for me, and my younger sister also clung to me, saying she wanted to give me jewelry. I couldn't win against her, so I went out shopping with her. "Big sister, I heard a new jewelry shop has opened in the capital, and it's very grand. Pick whatever you like. I've brought plenty of money." I tapped her on the forehead, unable to hold back a smile. After crossing the threshold, I unexpectedly saw someone I knew. Xiao Mingan was also accompanying Jiang Yulan in choosing jewelry. After a moment of surprise, I calmly bowed and went with my younger sister to the other side. While selecting items, I kept feeling a gaze fixed on my back, burning hot, but when I turned back, I only saw Xiao Mingan speaking gently to the person beside him. My younger sister was still young and couldn't help asking me quietly, "Big sister, that's the Crown Prince, right? I heard you almost became the Crown Princess." She looked at Jiang Yulan again, her gaze filled with disdain. "A side consort. And yet His Highness the Crown Prince came out personally to keep her company. Before she even entered the manor, he was already showing such favoritism. It's a relief, sister, that you didn't marry him. If you had, who knows how those two would have bullied you." The Empress was persuaded by me and took back the jade bracelet symbolizing the Crown Princess. But she still did not give it to Jiang Yulan. In her eyes, a side consort was already an honor. Even though Xiao Ming'an pleaded with her repeatedly, she still would not budge. Thus, at that consort selection banquet, the position of crown princess remained vacant, and only Jiang Yulan was chosen as a secondary consort. Seeing how I was dressed, the shopkeeper jogged over to lead me to the newly arrived curios and treasures. These are North Sea pearls freshly harvested and sent here with all possible haste. Young lady, you are breathtakingly beautiful, with fair skin as white as snow. These pearls suit you best. My younger sister's eyes lit up. This one is great. This one is beautiful. Shopkeeper, how many do you have? I'll take them all. Knowing I was a big customer, the shopkeeper beamed with delight. There are 27 in total, all evenly sized, perfect for stringing into a necklace. I was pleased too, and just as I was about to ask the shopkeeper to pack them up, Jiang Yulan had somehow also arrived here. Seeing those pearls, her eyes lit up, and she spoke directly. Shopkeeper, wrap them up for me. I want all of these pearls. This. The major customer suddenly became two, leaving the shopkeeper in a difficult position. The moment I heard Jiang Yulan's voice, I started to feel irritated. She's always been stubborn and unreasonable. I didn't feel like arguing and was about to leave. My younger sister, however, was unwilling to accept it, and stubbornly held me back, refusing to go. We came first. Shopkeeper, give us the package. No need to listen to her. The argument drew Xiao Ming'an. Jiang Yulan's eyes lit up, as if she had found a protector, linking her arm with Xiao Ming'an's and lifting her head proudly. And indeed, he was her protector. With just a faint glance from Xiao Ming'an, the shopkeeper nearly went weak in the knees, trembling as he fawned. Of course, it's for His Highness the Crown Prince. Quick, waiter, wrap it up right away. The younger sister blocked the way, refusing to let them move, and glared directly at Xiao Ming'an. Even if you are the Crown Prince, you cannot bully others with your power. This was clearly what my sister saw first, and what she likes. The little sister, like a newborn calf unafraid of the tiger, even dared to challenge the Crown Prince. But she didn't understand Xiao Ming'an. If he cared about reputation, he wouldn't have disregarded all criticism and forcefully elevated Jiang Yulan, a mixed blood of Hu descent, to the rank of imperial consort. Sure enough, Xiao Ming'an didn't even lift his eyelids until he heard the little sister mention the word sister. He then turned his gaze aside. Do you like it? He paused, seemingly lost in thought, and his voice unexpectedly softened. You are already the Crown Princess. There's no need to compete with Alan over such trivial matters. Xiao Ming'an thought I was going to marry him. It was enough to make anyone laugh. I did indeed laugh too. With my black hair and fair skin, and a cool, aloof beauty, I was known in the capital as a famous cold beauty. Once she smiled, it was as if the ice and snow had melted away, and spring was in full bloom. Xiao Ming'an was utterly stunned. He stared for a long time before finally looking away, his tone completely softening. If you really like these pearls, then I'll give you a few. 27 pearls. Jiang Yulan took 24 and gave me 3. Xiao Ming'an coaxed her, saying that 24 was an auspicious number, representing the 24 solar terms and symbolizing the two of them being together forever. Even so, Jiang Yulan was still unhappy. She pushed those 3 pearls in front of me and pouted. Here, if you want them, just take them. If you don't mind there being so few, make a necklace out of the 3 pearls. The shopkeeper was very perceptive and fawned over me by offering advice. Miss, they can be mounted on a hairpin. Rest assured, our craftsmen are exceptionally skilled and can set them so perfectly that you won't see a seam at all, and we won't charge you any craftsmanship fee. Xiao Ming'an took out his money pouch and paid for all the pearls. How nice. Jiang Yulan got the necklace, and I got the hairpin. By resolving the conflict so deftly, everyone was left delighted. Only I did not smile looking at those 3 pearls. I was reminded of the 3 lychees from my previous life. When I was in the Crown Prince's residence, I had to rely on the Emperor's favor, so I was only given 3. When I become Empress, by custom, I will have a whole string. The Empress Dowager is even more honored and can enjoy a whole plate. As one's status rises higher and higher, there are more and more lychees as well. But I looked at Xiao Ming'an, my voice very soft. I just don't understand, Your Highness the Crown Prince. Why is it that The things given to me are always the leftovers. It was pearls, lychees, and the favor that only came to my palace when Jiang Yulan was on her period. Xiao Ming'an didn't give me much. I always thought he had at least some feelings for me. Maybe he did, but even that little bit of affection was something he had scraped out from under Jiang Yulan's fingernails. I always thought that, having lived a second life, I would already be able to keep a calm, indifferent heart and take everything in stride, but it turned out that my chest could still ache faintly for years on end. Waves of grievance almost swallowed me whole. Lin Qingyun. Ah, Lin Qingyun, for the rest of your life after marrying into the Crown Prince's residence, everything Xiao Ming'an gave you was something he had carved out for himself. Fortunately, after the tide recedes, the sky will clear and the sea will calm. I met Xiao Ming'an's stunned gaze and returned the pearl. Your Highness, you've misunderstood. The Empress has arranged my marriage with the fourth prince. Not you, so I don't need to give up this pearl either. I still have matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. May His Royal Highness the Crown Prince and Consort be forever united in heart, with love and affection enduring always. 11 On the day of the grand wedding across a street, the procession from the Crown Prince's residence to take in a concubine collided head-on with mine. By rights, since I had married her properly and publicly, Jiang Yulan should have given way to me. But she was marrying the Crown Prince. As the Crown Prince takes concubines, that is one rank higher than ordinary princes. Based on my understanding of Xiao Ming'an, he would never let Jiang Yulan give way and suffer grievances. But this time, I was wrong. After a few tense moments, it was actually Jiang Yulan's carriage that gave way through the gap. My little sister whispered to me. I heard it was a message from the Crown Prince's mansion, asking your bridal sedan to go first. I also heard that at the banquet in the Crown Prince's mansion, His Royal Highness kept a stern face the whole time. On such a joyous day of marriage, he didn't seem all that happy at all. I let out a sneer and instantly understood everything. Having married the one he loved, how could Xiao Ming'an possibly not be delighted? I think his suppressing his feelings and deliberately pretending to be indifferent. After all, if the Empress found out that he was excited and delighted on his wedding day, she would probably think Jiang Yulan was a bewitching temptress and give her trouble again. 12 Although she had already made up her mind to marry the fourth prince, but on our wedding night, I was still a little uneasy. Fortunately, Xiao Yuanju was not the kind of man who would embarrass someone. He kept a certain distance from me, and when I lowered my head, I could see the veins on the man's broad palm, yet the motion with which he lifted my veil was very gentle. My name is Xiao Yuanju, I'm 25. By traditional age this year, you can call me Yuanju. From now on, we'll be husband and wife, for someone so tall and fierce-looking. What on earth was he saying? I had been very nervous at first, but his awkward words made me laugh. After my lips had stayed curved for a while, I realized Xiao Yuanju was still looking at me. As soon as I turned my gaze toward him, he looked away again, staring at the ground. His voice hurried. I know our marriage is in fact an imperial one, so don't worry, I won't force you. From now on, you can do whatever you want in the residence, and no one will restrict you. I don't enjoy social obligations and only have 2 or 3 close friends. They occasionally come by to visit, so the residence is fairly peaceful. I will never marry another wife or take concubines in this lifetime. I will only ever have you as my wife. There's a lot of open land in the back garden. If you're bored, you can plan to plant some fruits and vegetables there. Oh, I keep a dog and 2 horses. The horses have fiery temperaments, but once you're familiar with them, you can ride them out for spring outings and leisure trips. The dog is a big golden retriever. It's very friendly and likes people. It can stand on one leg to act cute, and you can play fetch with it. It'll do its best to please you. He said so much in one breath that I was a little stunned. Xiao Yuanju took a breath and finally dared to look at me. He said softly, Miss Lin, I hope you can like me, and my dog and horse. I thought about it, then replied softly, don't call me Miss Lin anymore. It feels too distant. Why, you can call me a you. This was the nickname my grandmother gave me. The term Qingyun was too lofty and too ethereal. My grandmother used the character you, which means fool, to name me. Lin Qingyun, Lin Au. Xiao Yuanju removed my heavy bridal crown, his fingertips brushing through my hair. A you, yes, This wedding night was far better than I had imagined. 13-2 months later, I attended a palace banquet with Xiao Yuanju. Partway through the banquet, the empress summoned me over and spoke with me for a while. Seeing me and Xiao Yuanju together, affectionate and harmonious, she also nodded with a smile. In any case, her earlier decision had been the right one. It had saved the fourth prince and brought a perfect match together. After talking with the empress, I went outside the banquet to get some fresh air. Just as I was about to go back, I heard a restrained roar. "Who told you to dress like that? It's Mother's birthday. Why are you dressed so ostentatiously?" I froze. It was Xiao Mingen's voice. He was tightly gripping Jiang Yuelan's wrist, his brows and eyes filled with suppressed anger. "But it was you who praised me for looking good in red." I dressed up beautifully to please the Empress Dowager, knowing she has never liked me. I glanced over. Jiang Yuelan's head was adorned with pearls and jade, so densely covered with various hairpins and ornaments that there wasn't an empty spot to be found, not to mention the flamboyant red dress, which made her look more like the protagonist of this banquet than the queen. "I've told you countless times to dress more plainly in front of Mother. Why won't you listen, you fool? You clearly said I was worthy of any jewelry in the world, so why are you calling me a fool now?" The two argued for a long time, completely unaware of me standing around the corner. I let out a silent sigh. Jiang Yulan was indeed that kind of person, stupid, ostentatious, and domineering. When I was the crown princess, I could still keep her in check and make sure she wouldn't make a fool of herself when she went out to see people. Even when she sometimes spoke without thinking, I could still smooth things over for her. But now, the prince's mansion has only her as a concubine. Xiao Mingen is busy with state affairs, so she runs wild. Over the past 2 months, she's offended countless noblewomen from prestigious families. Even officials who follow Xiao Mingen have been arrogantly ordered by her to serve tea and pour water. Xiao Mingen used to always complain that I was rigid and dull, like a puppet, without a single flaw, so the simple-minded and straightforward Jiang Yulan stirred his heart even more, and he indulged her even further. I didn't want to run into them, so I returned to the pond side to catch some breeze. Estimating that they had finished arguing and left, I prepared to return to the banquet. But as soon as I turned around, I locked eyes with Xiao Mingen's bloodshot gaze. "It's been 2 months since we last saw each other. Last time we met, I was still dressed as a maiden, but now I have my hair styled in a married woman's bun." Xiao Mingen's gaze swept over my hair before returning to my face. He remained silent, so I had to speak first and bow in greeting. "Your Highness, the Crown Prince." After a long while, I heard his voice. "Yuna, have you been well?" Every time Xiao Mingen had something to ask of me, he would call me Yuna. I remember one time when Jiang Yulan was being made a consort, he was afraid the court officials would oppose it, so he asked me to seek my father's support. Another time, when Jiang Yuelan's son injured my forehead, he told me to let it go and not punish him. "But actually, my nickname isn't Yuna," I told him, but he didn't take it to heart. "I know you're angry with me. You've also been reborn, haven't you? That's why you're deliberately refusing to marry me." Xiao Mingen's voice was hoarse, and his eyes dimmed. "You hate me for ultimately passing the throne to Alan's child." I actually had little to hate. As soon as that mixed-blood prince ascended the throne in my previous life, uprisings broke out across the land, and they marched into the capital under the banner of restoring the legitimacy of the bloodline. Xiao Mingen loved Jiang Yulan for his entire life. In the end, he even lost his kingdom because of that love. He brought it upon himself. Since he made his choice, he would have to bear the consequences. In this life, I never planned to make Alan's child the crown prince. I only wanted her to bear a child sooner, so she would have something to rely on. After all, her status is lowly. Having an imperial prince by her side is better than having none. Xiao Mingen's Adam's apple bobbed as he grabbed my sleeve. "Yuna, don't be angry. You are the one I want as my queen, the future Empress Dowager. Just nod, and I'll go find Mother right away. Hasn't she always hoped we would be together? After that, you can divorce Xiao Yuanju, and I will marry you, making you the legitimate crown princess." I felt like Xiao Mingen had gone mad. What kind of outrageous words is he saying? Steal a brother's wife, force me to divorce, and become his principal consort? I was also stirred to anger, sneered coldly. and deliberately provoked him. Fine, since you want me to enter the Crown Prince's residence, first drive Jiang Yulan out. I've had enough of her willfulness in the past. As long as you strip her of her position as a secondary consort, I'll go back with you. Xiao Ming'an paused, then slowly released my sleeve. He indeed hesitated. Alan comes from a poor background and has that kind of temperament. If I were to drive her out, how would she survive? Moreover, she has always been delicate, raised by me in luxury and comfort. Such a drastic change, she wouldn't be able to bear it. Yuna, you've always been gentle and magnanimous. Why make things difficult for her, a helpless woman? I knew it. Xiao Ming'an always sounded so nice when he spoke. In reality, he cared most about profit and gain. The only reason he wanted to marry me again was because, in my previous life, I had managed the harem in an orderly fashion, and enjoyed an excellent reputation both at court and among the common people. He couldn't bear to lose me, his perfect empress. Even more so, he couldn't bear to lose the love of his life, the one cherished in his heart. I was too tired to argue with him anymore, and quickly walked away. 14 A few days later, Xiao Yuanju was granted an official position and sent to Jiangnan for training and experience. I knew that once he left, he would never return. Jiangnan would become his fiefdom and ultimately, his permanent home. Before leaving, I went with him to the palace to pay respects to the empress. The empress held Xiao Yuanzhou's hand, filled with affection and reluctance. Xiao Yuanzhou comforted her for a long time. The empress wiped her tears and waved me over. Good child. She slipped off the jade bracelet from her wrist and placed it on mine. I've always liked you. Ever since you grew up, I've wanted you to become my son's bride. She held Xiao Yuanzhou in one hand and me in the other, her tone filled with satisfaction. Although it's not exactly as I imagined before, it's still wonderful. True affection in the imperial family is rare, and fortunately, the two of you truly love each other. Just as they were speaking, someone suddenly rushed in to report from outside the door. Your Majesty, the Crown Prince and Consort Jiang request an audience. The Empress's smile vanished instantly, and a look of disgust appeared in her eyes. I already said I won't see them. The Crown Prince has been kneeling for an hour now, under this blazing sun. He may suffer heat stroke. The Empress's eyes flashed with anger, but she forced it back down. Fine, then have him come in. By the time Xiao Ming'an came in with Jiang Yulan, I was sitting in a corner with Xiao Yuanzhu, sipping tea. Xiao Ming'an hadn't noticed us yet. After entering, he took a large step forward and knelt directly before the Empress. Mother, Alan didn't mean to do it. Punishing her by sending her to a nunnery is too harsh. Please forgive her just this once. The Emperor had ordered the Crown Prince to thoroughly investigate the case of cheating in the imperial examinations. The involved official went to the prince's residence and secretly delivered 10,000 taels of gold and many precious bolts of silk to Jiang Yulan. Jiang Yulan, being utterly clueless, actually accepted them. She even secretly stole the prince's seal, forged documents, and provided a guarantee for that man. Eventually, the scandal was exposed, enraging the Empress, who ordered her expelled from the prince's residence and sent to a nunnery. You're still protecting that wretch. Do you know that if I hadn't received the news in time and ordered that official to be seized and brought before the Emperor first, you would already have been branded as his accomplice and saddled with the disgrace of cheating in the imperial examinations? Xiao Ming'an's eyes were red. She already knows she was wrong. Your son can drive her out of the residence and keep her only as a kept woman, but a nunnery won't do. It's far too poor there. If she goes, she'll be worn down to death. Beside him, Jiang Yulan looked utterly incredulous. She screamed as she lunged to grab Xiao Ming'an. You promised me you would make me the crown princess, then the empress, and our son would be crown prince, inheriting the throne. You lied to me. You lied to me. The empress was already furious and had a headache now. Hearing Jiang Yulan say her son would become the crown prince, she was so angry she saw stars. What? You want a mixed-blood bastard to inherit the throne in the future? You, the queen couldn't catch her breath and fainted. Another round of chaos ensued. Xiao Yuanzhu was worried about the queen and waited until she woke up, ensuring she was fine. Only then did the two of us leave the palace. 15. When I heard news of Xiao Ming'an again, Xiao Yuanju and I had already arrived in Jiangnan. I heard that in order to eliminate future trouble once and for all, the Empress had forced a bowl of safflower soup down Jiang Yuelan's throat, hoping to render her unable to bear children, but unexpectedly, by the time the medicine was administered, Jiang Yulan was already pregnant. Xiao Ming'an had been keeping this news hidden, comforting Jiang Yulan and promising to make her the crown princess once she gave birth to the child. Unexpectedly, the child was lost midway. Jiang Yulan was deeply traumatized, believing that Xiao Ming'an and his mother had conspired to harm her. As a result, she fought with Xiao Ming'an every day, lunging at him to scratch and bite him whenever they met. No matter how much Xiao Ming'an indulged her, he was still the crown prince after a few times. He also lost his temper and simply stopped visiting her. It is said that during those days, Xiao Ming'an indulged in drinking and revelry every day, and when drunk, he would vent his frustrations to his companions. I used to think that although she was spoiled, she was still adorable, foolish, yet innocent. But now, she has become increasingly deranged, without any of the grace and gentleness befitting a noble lady of the capital. Whenever I see her now, I only find her terrifying and grotesque. It's strange, how could I have ever found her domineering demeanor cute before? Someone took these words seriously. An official eager to curry favor with the crown prince secretly found a group of gorgeous, spoiled women. Those women loved wealth and money, and knew best how to strike just the right pose. So they were domineering yet obedient, pampered yet gentle. Perfectly matching Xiao Ming'an's tastes, the crown prince's residence gradually took in many concubines, and the estate was filled with laughter and joy all day long. Jiang Yulan was neglected occasionally. When Xiao Ming'an thought of the past and wanted to go see her, he would meet Jiang Yuelan's hostile gaze as soon as he stepped inside. His appetite for it vanished in an instant, and he turned around to seek out other women for amusement instead. I heard these news and felt even more disdain for Xiao Ming'an. When a man loves you, your temperamental nature is seen as charming and spontaneous, but when he no longer loves you, you become terrifying and monstrous. In my past life, I upheld the dignity of the Empress, while Xiao Ming'an had the energy to indulge in flirtations and affection with Jiang Yulan. In this life, without me mediating, Jiang Yuelan's foolishness and arrogance make her unfit for public appearances, and the two of them quickly grow to despise each other. Yet I'm quite curious, Jiang Yulan isn't someone who can tolerate losses. She's impulsive, brainless, and acts without considering the consequences. If someone else hurt her, she would go to Xiao Ming'an to seek justice. Then what if Xiao Ming'an hurt her? 16 Sure enough, a shocking piece of news spread throughout the court and the land. The Jiang consort, who had always been insane, suddenly stopped being insane. She washed up, dressed herself in the red dress that Xiao Ming'an loved most, stood by the door, and softly called out, "Prince brother." Xiao Ming'an was dazed, and that night he slept in Jiang Yuelan's room. The next day, when the servants went to attend to her, they witnessed a horrifying scene. Blood was everywhere, on the bed, on the floor, on the curtains. Jiang Yulan slashed one knife into Xiao Ming'an's chest and another into his lower body, causing blood to flow like a river. When Xiao Ming'an was finally rescued and revived, he had already become a cripple. The wound on his chest had also damaged a vein. The emperor offered a reward throughout the realm to find a renowned physician, but no matter who came to treat him, nothing worked. There was only one outcome. Even with precious medicinal herbs to extend his life, he could live at most 1 more year. Jiang Yulan was executed on the spot on the very day of the incident. People visiting Xiao Ming'an at the crown prince's residence came one after another without end. But everyone knows the crown prince's residence is finished. A cripple who can only live for another year, cannot become the crown prince. Half a year later, a new crown prince was appointed. The third prince, who had an excellent reputation for being gentle and magnanimous, Xiao Ming'an sent me a letter just before he died. I didn't read it, I burned it directly. His things only brought me bad luck. The young servant who delivered the letter seemed to know I would do this, showing no surprise at all. The crown prince said you might not even read this letter, so there are some things he asked me to convey on his behalf. He said that he went down first because he chose the wrong person, and failed to see his own heart. In the next life, he will find you first and never let you down. A chill ran down my spine. This was simply the most vicious curse in the world. I sought out many Taoist priests, and among them was indeed one with real skill. With just one glance, he could tell that I had been reborn. Your Highness, do not be afraid. Your paths will end in this lifetime. In all the lives to come, you will never cross again. He looked past me toward the person behind me and smiled. With an inscrutable air, as fellow people from the previous life, the prince and you are the true destined match. As fellow people from the previous life, I turned around and looked at Xiao Yuanju. He was looking at me too. After a long while, I threw myself into his arms. Since you were also reborn, why didn't you tell me? I said before, you are free, so whatever you choose is your choice. I've been waiting for you to make your pick. Xiao Yuanzhou's eyes were very gentle. Thank you for being willing to love me in this life. The big yellow dog also ran over, excitedly circling around my legs. Then come with me for a countryside outing tomorrow. I've learned a new piece. Let me play it for you. The sky is clear, the breeze is gentle, and for the rest of our lives, may every year be peaceful and tranquil. After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. The day my husband became the top scholar, he declared me his sworn sister. After 6 years of marriage to Xiao Zuxiu, he handed me a letter of divorce upon achieving first place in the imperial examinations. Then he opened the ancestral hall to formally recognize me as his sworn sister. Standing before those tattered ancestral tablets, I lowered my gaze in silence, yet he spoke with utter conviction. It was your elder sister I was betrothed to since childhood. Your father tore us apart back then, but now everything must return to its rightful place. Considering you've taken care of me for 6 years, I'll acknowledge you as my sworn sister. Consider this my compensation. Perhaps even he found these words somewhat absurd, squinting his eyes in feigned ignorance. You can ask me for anything you want, and I'll do my best to fulfill it, but my wife can only be Jinyu. Her husband just died. I can't bear to make her suffer further as a concubine. Casually, he plucked a peach tree branch and tucked it into my hair. Dear sister, I present you this peachwood hairpin, hoping you'll soon find a worthy match. I glanced at the jewelry, silks, and satins he had prepared for my elder sister behind him, and smiled. When I was with him, I didn't even dare wear bright-colored clothes. Even eating meat while sitting on piles of gold required carefully crafted excuses. Now I can finally take the money and run without a second thought. I'm foolish. My brain suddenly feels inadequate. I gazed at the poised Xiao Zuxiu, my heart turning half cold. No wonder he demanded water 5 times in one breath last night. This morning my waist was still trembling. It was the first time in 6 years of marriage that he had shown me such warmth. I thought he was happy because he had won first place in the imperial examinations. But I was wrong again. My sworn sister is as beautiful as flowers and the moon, and she makes exquisite. She'll have no trouble finding a good husband. For the first time, I found Xiao Zuxiu's strikingly handsome face somewhat repulsive. The onlooking granny spoke up for me indignantly. Before you passed the imperial exams, you said Wanbai was your faithful wife through thick and thin. Now that you've succeeded, instead of sharing any of those gold, silver, jewels, silks and satins with Wanbai, you think you can just fob her off with some worthless wooden trinket and make her your sworn sister. Go ask around the capital what respectable family has a sworn brother who takes his sworn sister's virginity. Xiao Zuxiu's expression darkened. Ignorant woman, you claim she's my lawful wife. Do you have proof? I am a descendant of the Lanling Xiao clan. Were it not for my family's fallen fortunes, I would never have casually become engaged to some obscure Jiang family. My betrothal certificate states clearly, the person I'm engaged to is none other than the Jiang family's legitimate daughter, Jiang Jinyu. For these 6 years, Jiang Wanbai was merely staying temporarily in my household. With a flick of his sleeve, the delicate silk hem brushed against my cheek as he declared sternly, how can there be any talk of marriage? Where is the betrothal letter? Where are the matchmakers? Where are the 6 rights and dowry? Granny was left speechless, instantly rendered mute by his retort. As for me, I made my decision in that very instant. I carefully folded the divorce letter and thanked him solemnly for his gift. This humble woman knows her lowly station. These years of making a living selling pastries, a merchant's trade being base, make me unworthy of the noble Lanling Xiao family name. It is my honor, Jiang Wanbai, to become young Master Xiao's sworn sister. But since my sworn brother is preparing to marry the legitimate daughter of the Jiang family, it would be improper for me to stay here any longer. I beg your permission to let me leave the Xiao residence and establish my own household. Granny angrily tugged at my sleeve repeatedly. Are you out of your mind? The hard days are about to be over. He has so many gold ingots. How many icy desserts would you have to sell to earn that much? If you leave now, won't you just go back to living in hardship? I took a step back and bowed respectfully. Granny, please say no more. I harbor no romantic feelings for Lord Xiao either. Now that I've acknowledged him as my sworn brother, doing business in the capital will at least give me some security. I really want to tell Grandma that she shouldn't get angry over trivial things at her age. Xiao Zishou doesn't want me anymore, but I won't wallow in self-pity. During these 6 years of marriage, I didn't give him all my savings for his imperial examinations since childhood. My mother taught me that a woman's two most reliable things in life are the money she earns herself and the children she bears. No matter how sweet-tongued men in this world may be, never trust them with your whole heart, especially after witnessing my mother's tragic end from waiting her entire life. I would never throw away my life for a man. Xiao Zishou was quite pleased with my humble obedience. Here, you may have these 2 chicken feet as your reward. I have matters to attend to, so I'll take my leave first. With light steps, he disappeared through the doorway, yet still uneasy, he turned back. A pair of chicken feet probably won't be enough. I'll bring you some chicken wing tips too. I hope you'll enjoy them, sworn sister. In the future, when I become an official at court, I'll naturally have an official residence to live in. These 2 thatched cottages shall be yours. His broad brows were filled with joy and pride before the eyes of all the neighbors. He produced another handwritten deed. You're just a delicate woman. Running your shaved ice stall every day is already hard enough. I'm not some stingy miser who'd let you move out alone. That would weigh on my conscience. In that case, you may continue living here, from now on, with me in the imperial capital. No one would dare to bully you. After settling these matters, Xiao Zishou's figure vanished once more around the street corner. The neighbors dispersed reluctantly, none noticing the wild joy flashing in my eyes. 6 years ago, Jiang Jinyu would rather marry a dissolute nobleman's son as his second wife than become his principal spouse. My father didn't want her to marry into hardship either. Naturally, they thought of me abandoned in the brothel since childhood. I'd followed my mother scraping a living in the singing house. After her death from illness, the madam forced me to receive clients daily. The Jiang family originally just wanted me to replace the marriage Jiang Jinyu had rejected. Little did they know, in my eyes, tending to a man's daily needs was far better than selling smiles by the balcony. Drifting without a home a month ago, when news came that Xiao Zishou had passed the imperial exams, Jiang Jinyue's husband died. I secretly thought this was far too coincidental. I hastily took the divorce papers and the banknotes hidden in the floor cracks to the magistrate's office. In 3 days, you may come to collect your new household registration. The clerk took my money, his expression becoming noticeably more amiable than before. As I stepped out of the government office, servants from the Jiang family blocked my path. The second young miss has been carrying on shamelessly with Xiao Zishou for 6 years, bringing disgrace upon the Jiang family. The master specifically sent us to bring you back. Returning to the Jiang family, my father wore a stern expression. Ungrateful daughter, you've tarnished the entire reputation of the Jiang family. Where have you been these 6 years? We searched everywhere for you. If it weren't for Zishou taking you in as his sworn sister, you'd have surely ended up in a brothel by now. I was furious. What are you trying to do now? 6 years ago, it was you who made me marry Xiao Zishou, without complaint. I endured 6 years of hardship with him. Now he's given me divorce papers and recognized me as his sworn sister. What kind of farce are you pulling this time? Jiang Jinyu wore an expression of having suffered immense grievances. Father, please don't scold younger sister anymore. It's my misfortune. Perhaps it's just my fate to become someone's second wife. As long as brother Xiao treats me well hereafter, Even if I'm labeled as his 10th consecutive bride, I'll accept it. My eyes widened in that instant. I understood Xiao Zhixiu didn't want society branding him as a man who abandoned his first wife. Jiang Jinyu had no desire to leave herself vulnerable to gossip about specializing in becoming men's second wives. The two hit it off immediately, and my father was more than happy to step forward and play matchmaker for them. Xiao Zhixiu dared not look at me again at Jiang Xian's command. Someone, take this unfilial daughter to the ancestral hall and keep her locked up until she realizes her mistakes. I must also investigate thoroughly whether she truly carries the bloodline of our Jiang family. I understand now. My father sees that I've lost my usefulness and wants to eliminate his disgracefully born daughter while he's at it. Beat her severely, force her to confess how many lovers her mother actually had back then. She doesn't look like me at all. Maybe she's not even my daughter. A dozen heavy strikes landed solidly on me. The pain made me break out in sweat, leaving me completely speechless. I glared fiercely at that shameless old man Jiang Xian. Jiang Xian, you're not worthy of my mother's love. My mother loved you deeply. She made ice cream cakes to support your studies until you became the top scholar. Yet you abandoned her. You married the daughter of a high-ranking official in the capital, yet sent my mother to a brothel. You'll get your retribution sooner or later. Hearing these words, Jiang Xian grew even more furious. Xiao Zhixiu also clenched his fists, his profound gaze fixed on me as if some hidden thought had been stirred. Foster sister, how could you speak so disrespectfully to Father Jiang? Have you forgotten all the years I spent painstakingly teaching you literature and manners? He wore an expression of utter heartbreak. Even if you aren't of Jiang blood, you'll always be my foster sister. Why must you trouble Lord Jiang with your affairs? Wan Bai still has old injuries on her ankles. Be gentle with her. His words sounded considerate, but his eyelids kept twitching. The executioner's rod struck my ankle, and instantly I was rendered speechless. The heart-wrenching, bone-snapping pain crushed me until I could barely breathe. My eyes brimmed with tears of grievance. Xiao Zhixiu, 5 years ago, when you caught a chill and ran a high fever that wouldn't break. If I hadn't gone up the mountain to gather herbs, you'd have been dead long ago. The injury on my ankle is entirely thanks to you. You actually told them to specifically target my most painful spot. I thought his willingness to grant me the status of a sworn sister was a sign that his conscience wasn't completely dead, but I was utterly mistaken. Even when I neither cried nor made a scene, they still refused to let me go. Xiao Zhixiu stood in the shadows, his face twisted with inner conflict. Father-in-law, why not just let her shave her head and become a nun? Jiang Jinyu stomped on my arm, twisting her foot several times for good measure. Xiaolang, you're not still hung up on her, are you? It's not like I have to marry you anyway. With that, she tossed her head like a proud swan, exuding endless charm in a single glance. Xiao Zhixiu immediately rushed to appease her. Jinyu, rest assured, I've never had the slightest improper thought about her. If you dislike it, I'll have her tonsued immediately. With that, he went to fetch the scissors himself. A wind rose in the courtyard, and the wind chimes beneath the eaves sounded like death summons. The gleaming silver scissors hovered between my brows. I didn't even have the strength left for one last struggle. As long as I live, I will never forget today's humiliation. Xiao Zhixiu, Jiang Jinyu, Jiang Xian, and everyone else in this household, go to hell. Staring at the scattered black strands of hair on the floor, I found myself unable to even feel anger. Finally, Jiang Xian cleared his throat. It's best not to have any deaths occur at home. You're just starting your official career. If the censors catch wind of this, it could ruin your future prospects. Since she's practically useless now, just throw her into a nunnery. 2 servants stepped forward and dragged me away. Behind her came Jiang Jinyue's coquettish rebuke. Wait, someone so lowly, what if her hands and feet aren't clean? She might steal Master Xiao's family treasures. We can't let her walk away with gold and silver so easily. Xiao Zhixiu looked slightly embarrassed. What does Jinyu think? Naturally, have the servants search her before sending her out of the manor. She cast a sidelong glance at the coachman in the distance. You there? The greedy-looking groom lunged forward, mercilessly tearing open my outer robe and undergarments. His rough hands searched every inch of my body. I was utterly enraged. I opened my mouth to curse, but it was stuffed with a filthy rag. I wanted to shake off those grimy hands, but the groom wouldn't even spare my undergarments. He leered, "There are still places beneath these small clothes. I haven't searched. Why doesn't the young mistress arrange a secluded spot for me to conduct a thorough inspection?" Xiao Zishou's face turned deathly pale. "Absolutely not, Xiao Lang. Why are you speaking up for her? From now on, you'll have me by your side. What happens to Jiang Wanbai has nothing to do with you anymore." Everyone in the Jiang household was squinting at me in their eyes. It's as if I'm not a person at all, but merely an object they can toy with and humiliate at will. I could no longer contain my overwhelming emotions. "Xiao Zishou, I have absolutely nothing left on me. All the family's money is in your hands. Please, spare me some dignity." He hesitated, lips parting as if to speak, yet no words came forth. The coachman seized the moment to tear off my undergarments, scattering a few chicken bones that drew uproarious laughter from the crowd. "Forget it. Take advantage of the gathering dusk and send her away at once." Jiang Jinyu sighed softly. "I'm not really that kind of harsh person. I just don't want Brother Xiao to suffer any losses." I was like a piece of tattered cloth, discarded in the wilderness. The coachman had been lusting after me the whole journey and finally seized his chance to pounce. "Pretty little thing, though you're just leftovers from the top scholar's playthings. You've still got such delicate skin." The top scholar has spoken. "We absolutely cannot let you keep living in this world." His massive palm landed on my chest. "Before you die, you'll give this old man one last pleasure. I'll make sure your death comes quick." He pinned me down on the grass mat, the pain so intense I couldn't even muster the strength to speak. After finishing, the groom carried me into the mountains on his back, likely his first time committing such robbery and murder. He tried several times but couldn't bring himself to strangle me outright. Just ahead lay a small cliff. The bright moonlight silently hung at the horizon's edge. Beneath the deep cliffs lay a desolate darkness, like a serpent that could devour hearts. The coachman sharpened his knife against the stones of the cliff. Seizing my chance, I leaped forward, my gaunt figure vanishing completely into the night. On the other hand, although Xiao Zishou had achieved the top rank in the imperial examinations, he was new to officialdom and lacked the funds to navigate the bureaucratic circles. The Jiang family, eager to secure this newly minted top scholar, offered a lavish dowry. His marriage to Jiang Jinyu was celebrated with great pomp and splendor. Many who came to offer congratulations tactfully avoided mentioning how Jiang Jinyu had remarried less than a month after becoming a widow. No one mentioned me, the discarded wife, either. But less than a month after our wedding, Xiao Zishou changed his tune. "Congratulations, top scholar. Your wife is already 2 months pregnant." He smashed the teacup. "Bullshit. We've only been married for a month. How could the child be this big?" The elderly physician's calm, earnest gaze swept over his head before ultimately settling into silence. Xiao Zishou quickly composed himself. For 3 consecutive days, he claimed official duties kept him working overnight at the government office. Late on the 4th night, a servant arrived with a message. "My lord, I saw a dark figure heading toward the rear residence. If you return now, you might just catch them." Xiao Zishou drew his long sword and rushed back to his manor. Behind the tranquil rockery, a light had unexpectedly appeared too. Entwined shadows fell upon the rockery's stone wall. Xiao Zishou felt dizzy with rage as he stormed in, sword in hand. Behind the rockery, Jiang Jinyu was panting heavily, murmuring incessantly. Beneath her soft embrace lay unmistakably the sun-browned neck of the coachman. Xiao Zishou nearly jumped out of his skin with fury. "Slut! We've only been married for a month, and you dare to have an affair. Confess, is the bastard in your belly this wild man's?" Jiang Jinyu let out a mournful wail, her hair disheveled, never expecting a black-clad foot to ambush her from the shadows. Seeing this, the coachman hastily pulled up his pants and tried to flee. Before he could run 10 meters, 6 burly men were already waiting for him outside. Xiao Zishou was still furious. He then raised his foot again, aiming to kick Jiang Jinyu in the stomach. Jiang Jinyu nimbly dodged. "Xiao Lang, please let me explain. It was all that groom who harassed me. I never meant to do anything to betray you. You weren't here tonight, and I missed you so much. I had a few drinks alone in my room, never expecting this ruffian would come and abduct me." She wept pear blossoms bathed in rain, her sobs delicate and melodious. Xiao Zhixiu felt disgusted and slapped her across the face. How dare you cheat on me? I'll make you pay for this sooner or later. Jiang Jinyu repeatedly apologized and made amends, but Xiao Zhixiu remained sullen and refused to show her any kindness. Finally, Jiang Jinyu's temper flared up. She ordered someone to stop the coachman. Enough, stop hitting him, Xiao Zhixiu. A down-and-out scholar like you should count yourself lucky to marry me. I'm just looking for someone thoughtful to share my worries with. If you were decisive enough, would I need to turn to others? She simply vented all her grievances from the past month. The Jiang family fortune is all mine. This month, you've either been out drinking with others or squandering my dowry. I can't even get abalone or bear's paw to eat. Not only do we eat so plainly at home every day, but you don't understand the slightest bit of romance. Xiao Zhixiu's face grew increasingly darker, his hands trembling uncontrollably, his face turned deathly pale as he pointed at Jiang Jinyu, too furious to speak. Jiang Jinyu showed no courtesy either, blocking the coachman's path. Your performance in bed isn't up to par either. Before marrying me, you promised you'd love and cherish me forever, giving me a life better than anyone else's. She pursed her lips and spoke with righteous indignation. You've spent so much of my money, can't I find some enjoyment for myself? Besides, even if I really were pregnant, wouldn't that be good news for you? You get to become a father without lifting a finger. You should be thanking me, bitch. Xiao Zhixiu wanted to hit someone, but was unexpectedly struck on the head himself. He never imagined that all 6 servants in his household were actually Jiang Jinyu's people. Not a single one was on his side. After their relationship turned sour, Jiang Jinyu completely abandoned her previous gentle and proper demeanor, becoming instead a bottomless pit of extravagance. Today Jiang Jinyu took a fancy to a set of ruby-encrusted golden bird hairpins, and tomorrow she wants to feast on the signature dishes from Zhenxiu Zhai. At the slightest discomfort in her stomach, she would summon the best physician in the imperial capital, Sai Huatuo, to examine her. The elderly physician tactfully suggested that excessive intimacy during pregnancy was inadvisable, advising Xiao Zhixiu to exercise some restraint. Xiao Zhixiu couldn't take it anymore, but Jiang Xian said he was already pulling strings to secure him a decent official position, yet truly abandoning all the Jiang family's support was something he couldn't bring himself to do. But tolerating Jiang Jinyu's increasing audacity, frequently taking advantage of his absence to fool around with the coachman, this was more than his pride could bear. Then one day, walking down the street, he spotted a young girl selling shaved ice desserts and instantly felt his eyes burn. The girl pushed her cumbersome ice cart, looking around nervously. It's about to rain, and he doesn't know what's come over him. His heart aches suddenly, and tears actually glimmer in his eyes. From the private room on the 2nd floor of Zhenxiu Zhai, I watch his lonely, wretched figure and purse my lips slightly. Boss, should we send someone to teach that Xiao Zhixiu a harsh lesson? I shake my head. A simple beating won't satisfy our anger. The Ghost Festival is coming soon. Why don't we play some tricks to scare them? I marked up the map, coloring the entire Jiang family estate in red. My father has committed the most sins. Let's deal with him first. I still ache all over, but fortunately, I have money. I can afford to hire the best physicians in the imperial capital to prepare medicine for me during the 6 years of marriage to Xiao Zhixiu. I spent every single day figuring out how to make money. He always said that gold and silver were filthy things, and that people like me who racked their brains to earn money damaged the dignity of scholars like him. I beg to differ. In summer I sell icy desserts, in winter I sell citrus fruits, in spring I dig mountain peonies from the hills, and in autumn I brew wine with wild grapes. I could practically navigate that mountain with my eyes closed. When I leaped off the cliff, they all thought I'd died, yet no one could have imagined that I had already entered the gourmet tower. Secretly observing everyone in the past, I learned the art of vocal mimicry from a wandering master. Every year during the Ghost Festival, I would use my versatile voice to pose as a spirit medium. Those who longed to hear the voices of their departed loved ones were more than willing to seek my services. Xiao Zhixiu thought I was busy from dawn till dusk just to earn my daily bread. Little did he know, I owned the most renowned delicacy house in the imperial capital here. I was guarding mountains of wealth, yet couldn't even take a bite of meat while staying by his side. Now it's perfect, freed from him. I can devour meat to my heart's content. I have more than enough money, and those who bullied me will get what's coming to them. I had rumors spread that a spirit medium had arrived in the imperial capital. They say this master can truly summon the souls of the departed, bringing solace to the living's longing, but for those who have committed countless evils, vengeful spirits will surely deliver retribution. That night, the moon was dark and the wind howled as Jiang Xian headed home after his shift. Sinister winds rose along the way, and at the end of the street corner lay yet another turning. The sedan bearers exchanged bewildered glances. How strange. Didn't we just walk this same road moments ago? I remember walking too, but it feels like we're going in circles. The four of them exchanged words when suddenly someone exclaimed, "Could it be that we've encountered a ghost wall?" I've heard that during the ghost festival, many vengeful spirits come seeking lives. Jiang Xian, sitting inside the sedan chair, grew frightened upon hearing this. He stretched his neck and shouted sharply, "Hurry home at once. Don't speak such bizarre and nonsensical words." The servant boy hid in the corner helping me fumigate with smoke. I stood beneath a tree, then suddenly leaped out, arms stretched wide. Beneath the thick white powder, a pair of dark black circles framed my eyes. I mimicked Mother's voice, wailing incessantly, "Jiang Lang, Pear Blossom slave misses you dearly. Jiang Lang, you killed our daughter. This isn't over between us. Jiang Lang, back then, I sold frozen desserts to support your studies, and now you've abandoned me for another woman, a ghost." The four sedan bearers were so terrified they dropped the palanquin and fled in panic. Left trembling alone on the spot was Jiang Xian after a patter of dripping water ceased. A wail begging for mercy came from inside the sedan curtain. I glanced lightly. Jiang Xian had already been frightened into a stroke and collapsed. My servant and I packed up our things and withdrew back at Zhai. I burned a handful of gold ingots for Mother amid the flickering flames. I murmured to myself, "There are still 2 left." Early the next morning, Jiang Xian was found paralyzed at his own doorstep. All the merchants who had done business with the Jiang family came knocking, demanding repayment. Jiang Jinyu panicked and, without even bothering to find a physician for Jiang Xian, secretly took her maidservant to raid his private treasury. Every valuable item was swept clean. Jiang Xian lay sprawled on the bed, his eyes wide with uneven breaths. "Give me my money. I need to find a doctor." Jiang Jinyu didn't listen to her. When the Jiang family servants discovered the storeroom was empty, they also sensed something was wrong. The bolder ones began stealing things. Preparing to leave, Jiang Jinyu returned home to find Xiao Zuxiu actually engaged in lively conversation with a woman selling ice cream. She stormed forward angrily, "Xiao Zuxiu, my father is ill now as his son-in-law. Why haven't you gone to see him? Are you secretly missing that Jiang Wanbai? It's just a bowl of lowly shaved iced dessert. What's there for you to pine over?" When Xiao Zuxiu looked at her again, the warmth and concern that once filled his eyes were gone. "My affairs are none of your business. Your father's ill. Excellent. When I decide to divorce you, no one will be able to stop me." Jiang Jinyu wasn't afraid of him either, hugging her money box as she went inside. The two of them probably didn't know that I'd already secretly arranged everything, just waiting for them to turn on each other like dogs. With Jiang Xian falling ill, the good official position originally promised to Xiao Zuxiu was no longer being offered. Xiao Zuxiu felt even more grief-stricken and indignant. He was drinking himself into a stupor at the tavern when a masked peddler happened to pass by. High reward offered for spring breeze paintings. The more refined the lady depicted, the higher the price. Xiao Zuxiu was worrying about where to get money when he secretly approached street vendors and drew pictures of Jiang Jinyu fooling around with a carriage driver. When Jiang Jinyu later discovered that bookshops were suddenly flooded with drawings of herself, she was so humiliated. She wished she could die. She immediately threw a tantrum at home, threatening to hang herself. But Xiao Zuxiu paid her no mind. He took the money and bought himself an official post. When he passed by the pastry stall again, he chased after that young girl, declaring he would take her as his concubine. "I must have been blinded by lard," that bitch Jiang Jinyu cried, "and I completely lost my senses. I've failed Wanbai. I knew Jiang Jinyu had ill intentions, yet I still allowed her to harm Wanbai. In this life, I can no longer repay Wanbai's kindness. Next life, in the next life, I will surely treat her well. He knelt before the little girl, wailing in tears. It's all my fault for failing Wanbai. You look so much like her. I truly wish to keep you by my side. I immediately had someone bring Jiang Jinyu over. After listening behind the screen for half an hour, she came out gnashing her teeth. Xiao Zishou, what's so great about that bitch? As long as I'm alive, I'd rather die than let you take a concubine. Women can be so domineering sometimes. Jiang Jinyu had several lovers herself, but the moment she heard Xiao Zishou wanted a concubine, she couldn't control her jealousy. The two ended up brawling fiercely at Zhenxiu Tower. Seeing the situation turning bad, the shopkeeper immediately went to report it to the authorities. These incidents were written into lengthy accounts by those who couldn't stand Xiao Zishou and were slipped into the hands of several censors. Within a few days, the supervising censors reported these matters to the emperor. The newly crowned top scholar actually abandoned his lawful wife. Scandalous rumors about the top scholar's wife are spreading everywhere in the pleasure quarters, publicly abducting common women, forcibly taking the Snow Mountain maiden as his concubine. We haven't even issued the imperial decree appointing him to office, and he's already caused so much trouble. Does our imperial examination system exist merely for show? Guards, exile Xiao Zishou, sentence him to face-cutting. Punishment. When the imperial eunuchs and guards arrived with the decree to confiscate the family property, Jiang Jinyu was frolicking in the hot spring pool with the stable hand, terrified, her beautiful face drained of color as she pleaded desperately for mercy. The sharp-eyed old eunuch recognized her instantly. She had once been the wife of a short-lived noble heir. The old eunuch didn't mince words. You remarried in haste less than 6 months after the death of young Master Chen, truly unbecoming of a virtuous woman. That said, although young Master Chen was usually fond of mischief, it's hardly likely he'd suddenly drop dead. This servant shall report to His Majesty at once. We must conduct an autopsy on young Master Chen immediately, investigate his death thoroughly. Jiang Jinyu knelt begging for mercy, but this time, no one came to protect her anymore. From then on, I could finally conduct business openly in the imperial capital. The emperor of the Heng dynasty was a good man. He once issued an edict allowing women to engage in commerce, as long as they paid commercial taxes on time and possessed independent female household registration documents. Women could also become owners of merchant caravans. At Zhenxiu Lu, I ordered 2 signature dishes, both meat. As I ate, tears streamed down my face. Who knew life could be this wonderful without men waiting to be served? The silver I earned myself means I can eat chicken legs whenever I want. If I want to wear fine clothes, I'll wear fine clothes. The day Xiao Zishou was officially exiled, I dressed myself beautifully and went outside the city to burn incense for my mother. Outside the city gates, my donkey cart ambled along leisurely. On the other side, Xiao Zishou was shackled with iron fetters, each step heavy with burden. Suddenly he raised his eyes, pupils contracting sharply. Wanbai, you're alive. Your husband misses you every single day. He looked at me again, rosy lips lightly touched, adorned in resplendent robes, gemstone necklaces, pearl earrings. She exuded the noble demeanor of a wealthy heiress. He froze in place. How did you become so rich? Have you been hiding secret savings? He slapped his thigh several times in anger. Had I known you were this wealthy, I would never have written you that divorce letter. I sneered. Xiao Zishou, do you think I'm stupid? I'm no Wang Baochuan from those operas, giving up my privileged life as a chancellor's daughter just to dig for wild vegetables. The silver I've earned through hard work shall be spent only on myself. As for you, a weak and useless heartbreaker, still dreaming of inheriting my family's fortune, not a chance. I watched the light fade from his eyes. Gone was the refined elegance he'd shown when writing me that divorce letter. Truth be told, I felt pretty damn satisfied. He flicked his sleeve dismissively. I don't care. When I wrote the divorce letter, I didn't know you were this wealthy. According to the laws of this dynasty, when a couple separates peacefully, household property shall be divided equally between husband and wife. That divorce letter is now null and void. Hurry up and give me the money to buy my freedom. He howled like a stray dog on the road, annoyed by the noise. I simply tossed a small silver ingot to the guard. This man's gone mad, he mistakes any wealthy woman he sees for his wife. Utterly unbearable. The guard weighed the small silver ingot in his hand and flashed an understanding smile. Look at what you're saying, he's just a worthless freeloader. Everyone in the imperial capital knows he passed off his own wife as his sworn sister just to climb the social ladder. How could he have the face to do something so shameful? I smiled and drove my little donkey cart toward the golden Buddha temple. Kneeling before the Buddha, I earnestly told my mother that I was doing well now. If there were any regrets left in my life, it would be that my mother never got to see all that I have now. At the golden Buddha temple, I lit 49 eternal lamps in my mother's memory. From now on, I'll travel north and south with merchant caravans. The world is vast, and I'll move forward with blessings and hope. After finishing the incense offering, I returned to the old alley carrying 2 roasted chickens. I told Granny that I'd found another good man, that my new husband treats me well, and asked her not to worry before leaving. Granny was reluctant to see me go and even packed 2 jars of bin paste for me. One by, my dear child, may you be well in the days to come, have children early with your new husband, leave that good-for-nothing Xiaozishou behind, and your days will be nothing but happiness from now on. Thick trails of tears glistened in my eyes. I lied to Grandma. I didn't find a man. I've been working very hard to earn money, but I dare not say I'm wealthy. I understand the principle of not flaunting one's riches. Returning to Zhenqiu Tower, the attendant came forward and said, "The merchant caravan is ready. Where shall our first stop be?" I tap on the vast grasslands and expansive coastline marked on the map, pondering. Let's head south to trade some seafood. The servant adds, "The old servant from the Jiang residence came looking for you, saying your father needs someone to care for him now." A cold smirk flickered across my face. "Go tell them that the Jiang family's second young miss is already dead. She was thrown off the cliff by the groom long ago and devoured by wild beasts. Didn't old Master Jiang say before that Jiang Wanbai wasn't his daughter? What kind of relative comes forward now?" As he spoke, a white-haired old codger was suddenly shoved through the doorway. I lifted my sleeve to cover my face. God, what a stench. Jiang Xian's mouth hung slack with drool. "I'm your father, Wanbai, I'm your father." Pretending not to recognize him, I took out my female household registration document. "Old man, you've mistaken me for someone else. My name is Yu Wanbai. My mother was a merchant's daughter who sold icy desserts, and I lost my father when I was little. I take my mother's surname, and my children will take mine too. You won't get a single penny from me." Jiang Xian was left standing at the door. The servants no longer wanted to deal with him, and he was left abandoned on the street. I traveled south with the merchant caravan, witnessing sunrises and sunsets over the coastal islands. I learned to pry oysters from the reefs. Dried seaweed and mussels were brought back by me to the imperial capital. In winter, when vegetables were scarce, braised kelp with tofu or stewed chicken tasted absolutely fantastic. Later, my merchant caravan arrived again at the vast grasslands. Freshly slaughtered beef and lamb were truly delicious. Inside one of the grassland tents, I caught sight of a vaguely familiar figure. Jiang Jinyu, heavy with child, lay sleeping in the sheepfold when she was savagely whipped by her mistress, whose face burned with jealousy. The grassland woman kept shouting barbarian words I couldn't understand. The guide told me the beaten Han woman was once a noble lady from the imperial capital. She'd killed her own husband and was sent here by her in-laws to atone for her sins. That woman's heart is vicious as poison. While her man sought pleasure elsewhere, she seduced the stablehand right under his roof. We grassland women don't care much about chastity either. If we find someone we fancy, we just get together. She actually poisoned her first husband just to marry her second one. That really shouldn't be. The female guide commented on her with great relish, not forgetting to drag me into the tent to eat ice-cooked lamb stew. I bartered with her using tea leaves and salt, loaded with carts full of wool and lambs. The calves headed south of the river again. The poet said, "How fair the southern shore, scenes I knew of yore. At sunrise, river blooms outshine fire. In spring, green waves grow bluer by the hour." Sounds so enticing after hearing the 2 stories above. What are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.